Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Ledwell and this is The Inspiration Show. Today on the show I have a special guest who has a great new book that I want to talk about, which is entitled You're Not Crazy, You're Just Awakening. So it's a very appropriate conversation to be having on The Inspiration Show, so please welcome my guest, Dr. Edwige. How are you, Dr. Edwige?
I am well. Thank you, Natalie. A pleasure to be here.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
So that is a very interesting book title.
Oh, yeah.
So can we maybe hear a little bit about your story and how you got to write such an interesting book?
Wow, that takes hours and hours, but briefly, I was at a workshop and a lady walked up to me and said, "Are you writing yet?" And I said, "No, I'm not writing. I don't write." And that conversation stopped, and it happened again about 6 months after that. Someone walked up to me at another event and said, "They want you to know that you're loved. Are you writing?" And I said, "No." And then it wasn't until the third time when literally I was on the phone with someone who was channeling Archangel Michael, and Michael came in and said, "It is within your blueprint to write, and it's time." And I said, "Well, what am I going to write about?" And he said, "You will know." And so it really journals my awakening, and it began from the age of 12 when I was first visited by a benevolent being. And so all of those experiences leading up to my light body descending into me, September of 2012.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So what were you doing before that?
So before all of that work, I was a singer. I actually performed in Las Vegas singing in different shows, and I was very happy doing that. And then one day in 2004, as I was driving to a photo shoot, I was in a car accident, rear-ended at over 100 miles an hour. I went into the light, and voices said, "You are here to bring them into the light." And from that moment, all sorts of things started to turn on and wake up. I was visited by beings where they would plug things into me, where still points of light would come into the room, and I could see the light with my eyes open. I could see the light with my eyes closed. As they were calibrating and turning things on, I would be embraced in the middle of the night, open my eyes to see an orb leaving my room. I would be touched where I would say yes and taken to the Council of 12. So they were showing me that I was to be this bridge between heaven and earth, which was what all of the experiences as a child were all about. And in that particular case, this being would come into my room. He would literally take me out of my bedroom, flying into the stars, into the cosmos. We'd land on a bridge, and then we'd dive into the depths of the ocean. And so those visits lasted for 6 years, but I didn't know what it meant until the adult, when they came and said, "You are here to bring them into the light." So that began this long journey of now being able to do the work that I do.
Wow. Wow.
It's a lot.
So all right, so let's go back to the beginning. So the bridge and the diving into the water, that started happening at 12.
At 12 years old, imagine waking up because you feel this energy standing there looking at you, and you
Yeah.
see this tall white being standing there, loving energy. However, you're like, okay. And my mom, of course, I told my parents, and they said, "Well, they're there to teach you, go." And so literally, as this 12-year-old, I remember hovering above me, looking at me, sleeping, and yet very aware, very conscious that I'm looking at me sleeping as I float down the hallway, go out windows, fly into the stars, literally land on a bridge, and then dive into the depths of the ocean. And so, can you imagine that at 12?
No. But I mean, obviously you can feel love or whatever, so you're not freaking out.
Correct, correct.
Yeah. Because I would be freaking out. So you actually had the visions and you had the insight when you were much younger, but of course it didn't get reactivated again until you had the car accident. Is that right?
Correct. So, yeah, life happens and you're like, oh, these are really cool experiences. But unless they're going to say at that time, remember, do the work, because it's all about free will. So I had an idea, but life happens. And so we get on our path, we do our thing. And it's so funny because I even remember I was 25 and in California, and there was that familiar energy, and I opened my eyes, and there he was again. But this time, he was holding a clipboard, or my perception of a clipboard. And so telepathically, I said, "What's that? What are you here doing?" And he said, "Checking your progress." Didn't have a
Yeah.
clue what that meant. Didn't have
Yeah.
a clue. And it wasn't again until 2004 in that car accident when I went into the light, and the voice said, "You are here to bring them into the light." And then shortly thereafter, they started showing up. And literally, this one being came in and she said, "We are ready to teach you meditate." And then those still points of violet light came in, turning on the pineal. And experience after experience, literally probably every 10 days, something would happen. And I wouldn't know night to night what was going to show up. And so it truly was a process of transmuting fear, to be quite honest, because you don't know. And so then as I'm guided that I'm going to write this book, I started journaling these experiences, and hence I had a book. And then when it was time for the name, quite honestly, after you've heard inside voices and outside voices, right, after you've been able to see things with your eyes open and your eyes closed, and you start to realize you're multidimensional, then you really begin to question, are you crazy or are you just awakening? So it is a process. It is a process for sure.
Yeah. So what do you, how do you, what's your definition of awakening?
Do I have a definition? To really recognize that we are divine beings, and that awakening just begins the process. It's a stage, and it may take months or years to fully move through the process, because it really is about enlightenment. It's about expansion. And so I awaken because now I know there's something more. I know that there's something behind me. I'm not just a physical being having a spiritual experience, but in fact, I am more spiritual, and I've chosen to step into matter, physicality, to experience what that's like. So that's awakening, when you begin to have that aha, there's something behind me. I am much more than this perception that you see. And when we break through that, we're beginning to awaken. And then we have to go through those stages, right? We have to transmute lifetime after lifetime all the stuff that no longer serves us, the lack, the fear, the guilt, the shame, the pain, the doubt, the suffering. So we go through these stages. And as we move through that, now we're clearing the gunk, which is a chapter in my book, Clearing the Gunk. We're peeling away those layers. And now we're beginning to transform, where we start to see the colors, and we're beginning to vibrate and pulse, and we're feeling that we are energy, and we're tapping into that. It's very electrical in nature, right? I remember, oh my goodness, when I watched my light body descend into me, it was about a 10-hour process of me laying in bed, pulsing and vibrating, looking up, seeing this point of light, and it came closer and closer till it was the form of a body, and literally it moved into me. I watched it move into me. And so it is a true process. And so that's awakening, understanding that you're not here by accident, understanding that there's more behind you, and then saying, yes, I'm going to move off of autopilot. I'm going to become conscious of my thoughts, understanding that I am the creator of my experiences, and I'm going to begin to tune into that and change my vibration so that I can become more of who I'm being called to be. That's awakening.
Yeah, that is a fantastic explanation, because my next question was going to be, well, why do we want to awaken? Like, is it our life's purpose? But what it sounds like you're saying is that by going through by awakening, we're actually living life with purpose, and it's like we've gone from being in this gray, numb kind of an existence to this full technicolor, experience.
It is absolutely technicolor, by the way.
Yeah.
when we can see the other dimensions and we see those colors, first of all, they're so vibrant and so amazing. I was blessed with being able to walk through all 12 levels of 5D on Mount Shasta with my eyes open. And in the last level, literally the kingdom appeared. The Emerald City with the golden path. It's phenomenal to be able to see this with your eyes open. The rays of God descended into me one by one on Mount Shasta as I went through this journey. Fascinating. But yes, the reason why we want to, it's because We've been living asleep and not fully stepping into all of our potential. When you awaken, when you realize that you are co-creating with source energy, now there is nothing that you cannot do. Yeshua spoke of it, walking on water, being able to instantly manifest, right? I was actually in an interview a couple of months ago this past summer where I bilocated and I appeared to the woman. So that's what happens when we do the work and we really truly start to become more spiritual, having a physical experience. We have dominion over all of this. And yes, we can bilocate. Yes, we'll be in love and joy and peace and harmony and balance and order all the time. We'll be in bliss all the time. There'll be no more chaos, because chaos has served us in helping us to expand, to learn those lessons. So in fact, we become masters, and that's what this is about. Earth is a 7D planet, right? A seventh dimensional planet. So we just get to return from those places that we come from, and we get to step back into who we are. It's more than worth it. Whatever the work seems to be, if you were to change your perception of it and realize that all has been to serve you, whether it's been the parent that you didn't get along with, understanding that you chose these situations, these lessons, because you knew this was the lifetime that you had to awaken. This is it. Right? We're moving into the seventh and final golden age. So this is it. And so all that contrast is going to hit you, because it's going to force you to come to your fork in the road where you consciously say, yes, I am ready to return to those higher dimensional, multi-dimensional realities that I come from. Yes, I am ready to be a co-creator with Source. And yes, I acknowledge I am a divine being. So that's why it's so important and why it matters to get it in this lifetime.
So, so tell me about the book. I know you just mentioned before, it's worth the work. Is there a process that we can go through to go through this awakening?
So very interesting. So here's the thing, right? You awaken, I find, one of two ways. You have that near-death experience, you go into the light, you come back and, wow, there's something more. Or you have to reprogram your subconscious. Right? That lower reptilian brain, because to awaken you have to do it consciously, but the subconscious is where those programs are. So we have to become aware of those programs, those things enough. Then we have to deal with all the past lifetimes, and we have to clear those issues. So yes, there is a process. And in my book, I share different processes with you. I even share 21 ideas of how to raise your vibration, because we have to raise our vibration, understanding that everything is energy. So my thought, whether it be a negative or a positive thought, is going to lead me then to an emotion. Right? And it's going to be a negative or positive emotion based on my negative or positive thought, which is then going to lead me to the outcome, which is going to be a negative or positive outcome based on the emotion that I had based on the thought. So it's to understand all of this and then to become consciously aware of it. So yes, I share lots of that in the book. Also lucid dreaming, because it's wonderful when you are consciously aware of your sleep. I probably sleep 3 hours a night, and the rest of the time is consciously spent as a multidimensional being traveling. Right. So it's understanding all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have received a copy of the book, and it's actually on my bedstand. It's in the pile. I'm going to be reading it very soon, but I'm very excited to read it. I feel that there is an awakening happening on the planet at a much faster rate, which is my experience. But then that's the kind of work I do, and I live in the California bubble, so.
Yes.
So, but even when I traveled back to Australia now, I find that I'm having more consciously aware conversations, and people do seem to be awakened to this kind of information.
Absolutely.
And if you're watching this show and something here has struck a chord in you, I was nearly brought to tears earlier, because it's like I'm recognizing truth. What I'm hearing, I know is truth. Mm-hmm. I understand that this is it, and it's making my heart expand. So if that's been your experience, I really encourage you to connect with Dr. Edwige. So how can they do that?
My site, it's very simple. It's just, and you see it on the screen, DREDWIGE, dredwige.com. And there you'll find that you can either purchase the book, you can book a session with me. I offer different programs on my site. Literally, because of this energy that moves through me, I'm able to clear your resistance, clear blocks, activate DNA, literally bring in light bodies. I'm a light body mentor. I bring in light bodies. I'm able to clear all of your stuff to line you up vibrationally speaking so that you are a match to your light body, which is also a part of the ascension, because that is the vehicle that then allows your I am presence to descend into you. And that is ascension. So it's beautiful. And yeah, absolutely just the best thing to be able to do, to be that bridge, right, between heaven and earth, and to help change us from archetypal man to spiritual, back to spiritual. And that's really what the process is, helping you to peel away those layers, to discover who you are. Your sole purpose right now is to awaken. And as you awaken, then more of your vibration can elevate. And then in that, all of your gifts turn on for you. And then that's when you truly are ready to be of service, going out and doing your work. But until that, your soul's purpose was for you to awaken.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again for joining me today. It's been a very enlightening conversation. Now, guys, I encourage you to click on the banner either to the side or underneath this video so you can go straight through to Dr. Edwige's site from there. Also, share this video. You can do that by clicking the Facebook and the Twitter share buttons on this page, and make sure that you leave your email if you haven't done so already, so I can send you the Manifesting with a Master's video e-course. So until next time, remember to live large, choose courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you soon.